Hi, and good evening. So yeah, I did a video just before, just on the Ambassador, and how that's now level basically, isn't it? If you haven't seen the video, have a look at it. Only did it this morning, but I did say when I was next to the tower and also the Winter Gardens, when we was kids, it was a thing of legend. Was it folklore? Was it that been passed down over generations? And that's what it was, is the tunnels going from the tower to the Winter Gardens. When we were kids, we were told all different things. We were told, no, it's a load of rubbish, you're just hearing things, you know, and people are telling you this, and it's just basically old wives' tales, no such thing. But then something happened back in 2013. You may remember what that was. It was a big show came to town. Strictly Come Dancing, you may remember it. Now, whilst they was here, all the stars were here, the dancers, the presenters, they did all the show, went back to the changing rooms. Something strange had happened. A lot of their handbags, wallets, this, that and the other paraphernalia had gone missing. Question was, who robbed them and how? So that was in 2013. 2016, what they had done though, what they had done, did check CCTV, this, that and the other, to see how anybody could get in, you know, to the changing rooms, this, that and the other. Nothing on CCTV of anyone heading towards or going away from. So there was an investigation. Turns out in 2016 that this investigation does show there definitely was a tunnel or tunnels underneath the tower. There we go, just there. I'm just heading that way now. But not just that, those tunnels were built 120 years before, and basically what it was for was, a lot of the time the tower and Winter Gardens have been in the same company, First Leisure, a few years ago, you know. So the tunnels went, and it was easy to transport stuff for staff and what have you. So you get your tower just here. I'm just heading to the bottom of Church Street now. Obviously the tower right in front of me. Grand Theatre just there. And then the Winter Gardens just above. See if I can get it in for you. There you go. There's the Grand. And the Winter Gardens just above. But if you look at the land of the lie of the land, topography, whatever you'd like to call it, from the tower to the Winter Gardens, it's uphill. So you'd need some tunnel from there, wouldn't you? So that's why it was legend all that time. But the fact is, and it's still a mystery for the simple reason, those tunnels that were there were actually filled in, so it came to light in the 60s. So they hadn't been used for 55 years or so. Or is there any more? There's the question. Is this fact or is it fiction? Now, when they built the Elms Hill Centre here, so there was a street called Tower Street, and apparently what the tunnels used to do was go from the tower to Tower Street, and then from Tower Street to the Winter Gardens. It's difficult remembering where everything was though, with all the changes. We've got the tower just here. This is the tower buildings here. This is now the Elms Hill Centre. But if you look there, there's your winter gardens, and it's not really as far as you may think, is it? And this is the tower buildings. We'll pop up here a little bit. Yeah, this is all part of the tower buildings, you see. You've got the old part here, haven't you? I showed this the other day, you know, the circus pit and all around there, and the tower. And one of the things we were told when we were kids, not only was there tunnels going from here to the winter gardens, not only just that, but you could fit elephants through them. They were that big. I mean, okay then. I wouldn't like going on following one of them with a spade, shovel and a bucket. Anyway, so I'm just walking back this way. So you've only got to go from there. You can't tell on camera, but it is uphill, slightly. But I did work at the tower and also the winter gardens in the 80s, mid to late 80s. So if you head up this way, and there obviously is the winter gardens. But I don't think it would have actually come this way, the tunnels. But some information since as well. Due to the Freedom of Information Act, that's it. Freedom of Information Act. People applied to put this to rest for good, basically. They applied to find out, is there tunnels underneath Blackpool? Turns out, yes, there's 6 apparently. Now, one apparently going from the tower towards the cenotaph. Then others going up this way, obviously. And others going more central way to the toilets that I was saying about in a previous vlog that used to be underground outside Central Pier. Near Two Swords and what have you. But if I remember rightly, this is roughly where the Little Vic, what have you used to be, the Little Vic and that. That was a little pub. So difficult now to remember exactly how it worked. See, we're going uphill quite a bit now. See how far we're going uphill. Difficult to tell, I know, on camera, but yeah, definitely uphill. Let me just have a look around 1 second. See, when we were kids, that part of the tower, that's where the big wheel used to be. You've seen the famous photos of the big wheel in the tower in one shot. That's where the big wheel used to be there. Just on the corner there. But I think it would have come through this way. Because you've got the Olympia here. Used to be Olympia, and Peabody's, if I remember rightly, was the arcade in there at one point. So this is where I'm thinking was Tower Street, just here. It's a mystery though, isn't it? Has there been ever tunnels underneath. But when you look into it more and more, what goes from old wives' tales, for want of a better word, legend, turns out to be, it could well be fact. But I think this is where Little Vic used to be and that. Then the nightclub just there, didn't you? Yeah. So yeah, you've got that much there, and it would work up this way to the Winter Gardens here. So if anybody does have any more information, it's like I say, memory gets old. Please let me know. Winter Gardens here, this is where the big wheel was, roughly-ish, just here. Now, there's even a better one though, that not only did these tunnels come to here, but they'd go further down Church Street as well, onto the Raikes. And I mean the Raikes down Church Street. Is it Leamington Road? Rakes Parade. And on that way. So the tunnels would go from here. I'll get back onto Church Street a second. We'll see at the Winter Gardens now. And then go up to not only there but the Regent Cinema, or the Regent Bingo when we were kids, which is that way up Church Street. What I will do another day is follow the route so you can see. There you go, it's one entrance to the Winter Gardens from this side. So it does seem like, yes, there are tunnels under Blackpool. But two of those are including the old toilets that used to be, the underground toilets. So there's a stage door and what have you for the Winter Gardens, it was years ago anyway. Just up there. That used to be a nightclub there. Is it now Durham Lounge? So yeah, just pop round the corner here and you'll see what I mean then. But it's a mystery. It's that, when you was told from kids, yeah, there's all tunnels, and then you meet other people saying, no, it's a load of rubbish. No such thing. And then when you look into it a bit more, actually, yeah, there are. So you can imagine, in a way, as you used to go in and what have you when we worked here. And I was going to say, actually, when I was younger and I worked at the Tower Lounge and here at the Winter Gardens, just doing waiting on and what have you, then yeah, I remember massive, but you just thought that was the basement basically, you know, where they kept everything. There you go, there's the Christmas tree. And this is another entrance. If you do know the Winter Gardens, when it's open, when you go in here, just on the right hand side, there's a toilet you go down to. Downstairs toilets, just on the right as you're walking from here. So we're just here. So I'm out of breath with all this walking around. And that's one entrance you could get to these tunnels. But what you could do, so you've got that tunnel going from the tower to the Winter Gardens here. Now just further up, it's uphill once more, don't forget though. This is the thing about the tunnels. Now, the Regent is just in front of me now. Bear me 1 minute, try and get it in sight. And there's the Regent, the grey building. The bus has just gone past on the right. Just there, right in front of me, centre of shot, basically. So you'd have to walk, what's that, 300 yards or so? That's got to be some tunnel, because we are going uphill something now. Excuse me. Rather cold tonight, at least it's not throwing it down. Now, I've also worked at the Regent, once again many years ago. So yeah, that's as far as I'm going tonight, but another time I'll show you. So it's meant to go from the Regent Cinema there. Let's see if we can get it in a bit better. So you've got the Regent Cinema there, or Bingo as it was at one time as well. Going down to the Rakes Pub, Rakes Hotel. Now the Rakes I know very well. Drank in there since I was 18. There's great stories that the Raikes has haunted. The White Lady. I spoke to bar staff before, they won't go down in the cellars. But it's a fair trip then, going from the Regent there, right in front of me. That's the Regent, with the dome on the top there. Regent Cinema, which is now back into a cinema, by the way, and also an antiques house. Down to the Rakes. I will do that one another day, not tonight, but another day. But yeah, if you know any stories though, you've been told if you're from Blackpool when you were a kid, or even if you've come here in the past and you've been told stories, let me know, because some I've spoke to people from before I was working there in the 80s. But yeah, it's fact. And they'll tell you stories how you used to be able to do it, going from the tower to the Winter Gardens, vice versa. And then on from the Winter Gardens to there, the Regent, and then on from the Regent to the Raikes. Never heard of that before in the Raikes, but maybe you have. Let me know. Hope it's been of interest for you. If you do like, please like and subscribe. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Hi, and welcome to Blackpool Bag, or Blackpool Biker even. Hope everyone's well. Doing okay. I'm just here showing you this at the moment, because this is where the big wheel, the great wheel, the giant wheel, the jolly wheel, it had all those names along its time. But this is where it used to stand. I'm just at the Olympia side of the Winter Gardens. I have said before on previous videos that where it stood, or just about where it stood, and it was here. They built the Olympia after the dismantling of the giant wheel, the big wheel, whatever you like to call it. So yeah, we're just spot on where the big wheel used to be. That's Adelaide Street there. I've just done a bit of a video on Adelaide Street for you. And if I just pan around a little bit, there's one of the famous that a lot of people take the pictures of, you know, the Winter Gardens entrance there. See if we can get that in for you a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of history on the big wheel in a second. It's only going to be a brief one, you know, and everything I say might not be 100%, but it's not far off. Anyone knows better, and I always do say, if you know better, please let me know, because that's what it's for, a community. Let's help each other. But this is just to my knowledge, obviously. Before we start, I've got to do a couple of shout outs that I didn't do before. I do apologise because I'm so unorganised. I'm going to go to Poundland in a minute and I'm going to buy a new book. So when I get the messages in, I'm not losing them. I do it every time. So a quick one for Jimmy, Tina and Cameron. They're in Maypole in Ayrshire. Thanks very much for liking, subscribing and everything to use. Hope everybody well there. Lots of people now in Scotland subscribing and watching the channel. Thanks very much. Even in Australia. I had a comment the other day. I can't find it now. There you go. But thanks very much for the comment. Yeah, so if you like a shout out, just let me know. So let me show you where we are. You probably know, you know where Winter Gardens are. But you've got the new there, the Hounds Hill. We'll watch this being built. Literally. Watch that being built. Put my paper away. Sorry, hands are cold. It's a bit nippy this morning. There we go. So like I say, this is where the big wheel was, the jolly wheel, the gigantic wheel, whatever you'd like to call it. It was built for the Winter Gardens company, obviously. Let's just have a wander along here so I can show you a little bit more of the Winter Gardens and what have you whilst I'm telling you a little bit about it. So the reason they built it was a couple of years after the tower being 1894, was it the 13th of May, something 13th, 14th of May 94 if I remember correctly, and the big wheel just here, that was built first time it turned 1896, a couple of years later, like we say, you know, in competition with the tower. Now, it was actually designed by Cecil Booth. If that name seems familiar, you're probably spot on. It was designed by Cecil Booth, who also invented what we know today as a vacuum cleaner. Vacuum cleaner, you won't believe it, would you? But yeah, this is a better shot of the Winter Gardens as you come up this way a little bit. One of the amazing things though about the big wheel, the axle itself was 40. Bear with me 1 minute, I've just got a little fence here I've got to negotiate. Yeah, so the axle itself was 40 tonnes, believe it or not. 30 tonnes, sorry. And approximately 40 foot, weighing 30 tonnes. That was just the axle. Just the axle itself. This is the side of the Winter Gardens most people know. I'd love to get into the Winter Gardens to show you around, but impossible at the moment. You know, with all the restrictions and lockdown and what have you. Now, let's walk back down this way. So the height of the big wheel, the gigantic wheel, jolly wheel, however you'd like to know it as, 220 foot it was. I'm going to put photos on. You should have just seen a few actually, so you can see how it did look in the day. You could still, the carriages, the gondolas, as they called them themselves, they were massive. They held 30 people each, and there was 30 carriages on the actual wheel. But I have seen others saying in the past that they actually held 40 people by 30. So you've either got a capacity of 900 or 1200, which, when you think about it, is more than the views we get on old Blackpool Biker. on a wheel just here. I'll go back a bit in a minute, so I can get it in better for you in a second. Now, the demise of the wheel, various reasons really. Obviously the tower was the main draw, and always was. Like I say, built a couple of years before in 1894, the big wheel in 1896. There you go, Coronation Street just here. I'll go back a bit again. I'll put some photos on to show you exactly, from this angle, you'll be able to see, you know, off the photos, to be fair. So, yeah, the last trip, or the last time it went, was in 1928. And the funny thing being, that was the same year that the Winter Gardens was bought out by the Tower Company. Don't know, is there anything in that? I don't know really, because, you know, would you have two prime attractions? Well, why not? You know, you might go in the Tower then here, or one day the Tower, one day on the big wheel, you know. It's one of them, innit? It's horses for courses, I expect. But would you knock the big wheel down on purpose? I don't really think so, do you? But back to the gondolas, the carriages, if that's what you want to call it. A couple of them do still survive. I think there's one in Wesham or somewhere like that, or Kirkham, somewhere like that, just outside of Blackpool. And they do still survive. One was at a filling station, if I remember rightly. Yeah, filling station. And there's one in a private residence as well, used as like a sunroom. So yeah, isn't it funny? This is exactly where it's been so busy in the day. But the size of the thing, you've hopefully seen the photos now, but the size of the wheel, it was 1,000 tons all in all. And it started, like I say, the last time it turned was 1928. So it wasn't up for that long, was it? What was that, 34 years, is that? What I've read before though, it had 2 coats of paint on it when it was first built in 1896. And just the weight of the paint was 2.5 tons. So yeah, there's not much more really you could go into. It's just a fascinating thing. What was an iconic landmark in town is now, you know, this is it now, what we're looking at. I'm sorry I can't show you much, but there's only the one area I can really show you. Yeah. But it's one of those that, it's part and parcel of the history of Blackpool, isn't it? You know, I'd love to get inside, but there's just no chance. No chance at the minute. There are a lot of places I'd like to get inside, you know. But I hope you've liked the little vids. You know, it's just a brief history. I thank everyone for liking and subscribing. If you do want any shout outs, please let me know. I'm going to do the Winter Gardens ASAP as soon as we can get in there, because you need to get in there as well, and I can show you the architecture that I was saying about then, about you know, Dr. Cocker, William Cocker's property that he actually sold to his own company, basically, the Winter Gardens company, when they was doing that in 1878, the Winter Gardens, wasn't it? Yeah, so like I say, I hope you like this little vid. There's not much I can show you because we're stuck, aren't we? You know, it's a shame. I will do better when we can get out of this, all these restrictions. Hopefully that'll be any time, well, in the next few months, when we've got all the vaccines and everything. So that's the best I can really do for now. I hope it's been informative for you. You know, it's just one of them things you can't do a lot at the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Most of all, have a cracking day. So yeah, over the weekend I was asked, so when you were younger, what did you used to do? Summer holidays, you know, and that sort of thing, the 6 weeks holidays when you were still at school. Well, we'd come here. One of the things we do is come here anyway. This, believe it or not, is the old site of Derby Baths. So you'd have deep end up that end. You could see where the bank is there. That would be the deep end. Come along here a little bit. I'll see if I can find a photo of the old Derby Baths as well. So you can see that would be the deep end there. Along here. See how it dips there. And this was what was the old Derby Bath site. We've now got the Grand Hotel next to it. Got Grand Hotel there. And then this has just been left really as parking at the front, the seaside, or the prom side, should I say. Yeah, so we'd spend all day here, because in the summer, obviously, you'd be able to go upstairs onto the roof as well, where you could do sunbathing and what have you, obviously swimming during the day. You'd literally spend all day. They had a cafe upstairs as well. And it's really a shame it got knocked down in the first place. I think it was 1990 when it was eventually demolished. So, yeah, 30 years ago now. I'm pretty sure this is where you used to go and pay in, just here. Just here. So funny how over the years you forget. But yeah, it was an Olympic-sized swimming pool, this one. See where we are now. If I come along onto the promenade, you're about to see a bit better where we are. So you've got Ginn Avenue there, just going down to Ginn Square. But it used to be great when we were kids, you know. You could just come to Derby Baths, pay one admission fee, and then you was in all day. Like I say, cafe upstairs, so you could get pie and a bovril as we did in them days. Other places we used to go as well. We'd go down to the Pleasure Beach and to the Fun House. You'd be in the Fun House all day as well. Once again, one admission, 2 people nicking in under the turnstiles. No, only kidding, we wouldn't do anything like that. But yeah, you can see how the land lies here. How it used to work with just where the ground's so deep end that way. Your shallow end that way. And what they used to do actually was, if anyone was going on the top board, they'd blow a whistle so underneath could be, so people could get out of the way of the diver coming down, and they'd blow the whistle so everyone would know that someone was going off the top board. And what they used to do if you jumped in rather than dove in, they would actually kick you out. Yeah, that's how it used to work. So yeah, there's Derby Baths, or what was Derby Baths. See now from the promenade, if I come back round, I won't go too fast so no one gets dizzy, whereabouts we are. So the Grand Hotel there, I'll just have a walk down a bit further, see a bit better. And this was, you get into the shallow end now. So yeah, this may give a bit of a better idea from here where exactly we are. So on the promenade now, obviously, that's just the Gin over there in the distance, as you can see, down there. Just goes around that corner there, where someone's just crossing, and then you're at the Gin Square there. There's your Derby Baths, what was Derby Baths, and then the Grand Hotel here. There you go, Grand. Yeah, so hope that informed you, the lady that was asking me over the weekend. Also, like I say, what we used to do was go down the Pleasure Beach skateboard park that used to be underneath what's now the Revolution. We actually watched the Revolution being built. The big song then, that summer, was Boomtown Rats, I Don't Like Mondays. So what year was that? About 1980, something like that. So we're looking 40 years ago. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. Give you a show of the beach, the promenade. On top walk at the moment. So you've got middle walk there, and then just down there, you can't tell, there is a bottom walk there as well, the bottom walk. Nothing like, seems nothing like as bad as they have been. I've seen the videos that I've previously done, but no, it's nothing like as bad. And there's relation to North Pier where we are as well, so you can see. I think that's that hotel that's crumbling down, just in front of me there. And then you pan round, just like that, then you're at the old Derby Bath site. Seems a waste, doesn't it? Just big lump of land there. Just doing nothing really now. What a shame. Anyway, like I say, do these videos so people can see what Blackpool's like. I know it's locked down, I know people can't get out. You know, if you're from away as well, you know, and you like to come to Blackpool and have memories of Blackpool, just let me know what videos you'd like to be taken, and I'll do them if I can, no problem whatsoever. Please don't forget, like and subscribe if you would. Thank you very much. Bye. Hi, good afternoon. We're on the 22nd of December today. I'm just outside. We're going to do the Rakes Gardens. Most people local will know the Raikes. It's got a cracking history to it, to be honest, because all this you see down there, here where the Salvation Army is, as we know it as now, this was all the Rakes Gardens. And where the Salvation Army is currently, used to be the entrance to the Rakes Gardens. Cracking really, because there was so much to do here. The original building for the Raikes was built by Mr. Butcher, William Butcher, in 1750, and the Raikes does stand out, but you never notice it as you're that used to it. But this now, the Salvation Army building, was actually built in 1905, around about then, for the school, the secondary school. But literally this stands where the entrance used to be. I'm going to put a picture on so you can actually see, you know, the difference and how it used to look. I'll put that on now, hopefully. So hopefully if my editing skills are better than they used to be, you would have just seen some pictures of how the entrance used to be. Like I say, the Salvation Army building is now, that was the secondary school, built in 1904, 1905. There is a plaque just here I've seen, so I'll just show you that plaque in a minute. So yeah, this is all the land of Rakes Gardens. I'll show you the plaque now. There's the plaque, look. So it was unveiled by Gilbert Blundley, Mayor of Blackpool, in 1st of October 1904. I think it actually opened up properly in 05, but I'm not positive. So all you see around here was the Rakes Gardens. The church there, going down to Longton Road, Leicester Road, all those down here, all were part of the Rakes Gardens. Like I say, it was William Butcher that originally commissioned, if you want to call it that, the Rakes Hall in 1750. It had roughly 40 acres of land to it, which we see now as the streets and that all around us. And here, what's now the synagogue and what have you just there, the building in front of me just there. So that was in 1750 when he actually purchased it. Now Butcher now is buried in Bispham Cemetery, but he did change his name to Boucher. Don't know why, something must have happened. Here we go. So all this land you see, that's a Church Street just there. That was still there in the day, Church Street. Now, around about 1820, the land was sold to William Hornby. And we've all heard of Hornby Road, which is just there, right at the end of this road here. What am I on now? Is this one Lincoln? Yeah, that's Lincoln Road here. So up to Hornby Road, you can see where the flats are in the distance, was all the land of the Rakes Gardens. As you can see there, right down the street. Just look around here, you see all this used to be the Rakes Gardens. In a second, where I'm going to be walking is where, believe it or not, Blackpool Football Club played the seasons 1888, 1889. So Hornby dies in, let's have a think, 1824 Hornby dies, and he leaves it to his son, all the properties, all the land and the estate, now on Longton Road. So if I walk up Longton now, we're literally walking on what was the football pitch, the boating lake. If you have a look at the pictures, it should be on there that I've just put on for you, but where we're walking now would be there. So around about 1860 time, what happens to the Rakes Hall? Hornby's family, his son, actually rents the hall out. Just 1 second. And he actually rents it out in about 1860 to the Sisters of the Holy Child Jesus. So it was a convent basically, and this is where a lot of the ghost stories and what have you stem from. About the Rakes Hall. I've said on previous videos, I do know bar staff that's worked at the Rakes will not go down in the cellars whatsoever. They do not like it one bit. So then in 1870, what happened was, Daniel Hornby, his son, sells the estate, and the new company, the Rakes Hall Parks and Aquarium, purchase the land. And then you get the start of the Rakes Gardens. So it actually opened, the Rakes Gardens, in 1872 on Whit Monday. Did all right, nothing special in 1872. See all these streets, just all of it was the Rakes Gardens. Yeah, it did nothing special in 1872, but in 1873, that Wit week, you know, the week of Wit, there was 40,000 paying customers that week. 1887, the Royal Palace Gardens, it's renamed to. Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, basically. That's why they did that. And they try and rename it. Now, believe it or not, here, you'd have roller skating. You'd have the lake, you'd have the race course, trotting arena, fountains, bars, billiard rooms, everything. It was that big. The demise came of the gardens because, and now at the Rakes Hall, what's left, this is all that's left now of what was the Rakes Hall Gardens. But the demise started, obviously, you've got the Winter Gardens that had opened. The tower opened shortly after that in 1894. We're about half a mile away here from the promenade. Here we go, I'll get a better picture of the Rakes as it is now for you. Before I get run over, get off the road. There you go. That's a bowling green now at the back. But you can see how it does stand out, can't you? From its surroundings. Which, like I say, we never really noticed because you're that used to the property being here. And you don't really take... You see it, but you don't acknowledge it, if that makes sense. So this is what's left of the Rakes. But yeah, as I was saying, the reason for the demise really was the tower had opened. That was 14th of May 94. The Winter Gardens that had opened in the 11th of July 1878. And the other thing, crucial thing that happened was that Central Station was built as well. Central Station being on right next to the promenade, easy access from there to the Winter Gardens and also obviously the tower. Who's going to walk half a mile further inland when you've got all that there? Also what you had was probably over 600 beachfront entertainers on the beach, all for free. So why would you pay to get into Rakes Hall Gardens? You know, so that was the demise of the Rakes Hall Gardens. But at its peak, it was having 60,000 paying customers all around here. So yeah, it was from about 1891 the demise started of the Rakes Hall Gardens. A lot of the things, there was auctions for some of the statues you should be able to see on the photos I've put on. You know, so... And apparently some ended up in the Winter Gardens, which was Cocker's adventure, obviously. Venture, should I say. William Cocker's. But all this land, all of it, was part of the Rakes Hall Gardens at one point. Yeah, it's always been of interest for me round here, because I was brought up round here. Like I say, the Rakes was my local for many years, still pop in now and again, cracking in the summer on the bowling green when you can open, when we're not COVID ravaged. So yeah. So I've just walked back to the top of Leamington Road, which is the main road going down towards Raikes now. Yeah, so carrying on with the reason for the demise of the Rakes Gardens is that the building of the central station, because the old station was just up there. See the building in the distance? Let me get that in for you. Just there. Walk to the left of there and you're just about at North Station, or what was Talbot Station in the day. Just next to the North Station now, where they're doing Wilco's demolition. That was the original, that site was the original North Station, Talbot Road Station. If you ever wondered, that is the original site. So all you'd have to do is walk down there and you would be at the Rakes Gardens. Sorry about that. Let's get that back down again. Yeah, so you'd be at the Rakes Gardens then. So, if we walk back up here, this is Church Street just here, and then Park Road just comes from the left onto Church Street just to here. So you'd have to walk, it's about half a mile's walk. Rather than just walking down there, you know, and then you've got, like I say, you've got the Winter Gardens, you've got the tower by this point. 1894, the tower, as we know, 1878, the Winter Gardens. Why would you walk all the way down here? Very big shame. We still have something left over the Rakes Gardens, which is the Rakes Pub. The Rakes Pub is a cracking pub. If you're ever in Blackpool, please come and have a look. They've got old photos in there of the Rakes Gardens, the plans and everything in the Rakes. So if you are here at any point, pop to the Rakes. Really is a great pub there. If it's summer, you can go out onto the bowling green, have a few drinks out there. You know, and you're like half a mile or so, maybe a little bit more from town, from... You know, if you walk straight down Church Street, basically, you know where you are there. You're at the Winter Gardens. It's only a 5-minute walk down there is the Winter Gardens. Literally a 5-minute walk to the Winter Gardens. Well worth the visit. Wayne, the landlord at the moment, always makes you welcome. There you go. So, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe if you would. It does help the channel so much. If not, don't worry, as long as you're enjoying the videos. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Most of all, have a cracking day. Bye now. Good morning, and welcome once again to Old Blackpool Biker. This morning I've been saying for a long time I'm going to do the final secret tunnels, underground tunnels of Blackpool, and I'm literally just outside the tower. The tower building is right opposite me, just there. The iconic tower building and the Blackpool Tower. Just there. But yeah, I've been saying that the first time I did the tunnels was maybe about 14-15 months ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But originally the tunnels was started because as kids, and it's always struck a chord with me that as kids we was told that there was secret tunnels that have now been capped off or blocked off, you know, in one way or another. But the old timers in the pubs, or even when we were still at school at Tilsley, you know, and we were told, no, there is tunnels under the tower going to the Winter Gardens. And we just took it with a pinch of salt, to be honest. It was like old wives' tales. Yeah, right, okay, then there's secret tunnels under Blackpool Tower. Okay, then it sounds mysterious. It sounds, you know, that you're telling kids, basically. And when we got a bit older, we started drinking, you know, when you're 18, The old timers, I'd say, would nowadays be about my age. When I say old timers, would give us the stories, you know, eyewitness accounts that no, seriously, there was tunnels under the tower going various directions, basically. Now, one of them or a couple of them that we've done previously before was from the tower, obviously, to the Winter Gardens. That one has been proved that there are tunnels going that way. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a little while. But there are tunnels. And apparently they even used to have, you may have seen pictures of the elephants being on the beach. Bring them over and they'd go on the beach, you know, from the circus, basically, the elephants, and they'd be on the beach. You may have seen pictures in the past of that on Blackpool Beach around here. But apparently the elephants used to be able to get through these tunnels as well. And when I was first told that, I'm going, Jack and Ori, go on, tell Biker a story. But no, we were told this as kids, don't forget, as well. So yeah, it's true. And the reason we know that, quite a few years ago now actually, back in 2013, we had a big show come to town. And that show, you've heard of it, you probably know it, was called Strictly Come Dancing. Now, what had happened was, whilst the stars, the entertainers, the judges, you know, were here at the tower. Sorry about a bit of traffic noise. I'll go around the back of the tower in a minute and show you a bit more. It won't be quite as noisy then. Yeah, so while they was here, things were mysteriously taken from the dressing rooms. This was back in 2013. The mystery was, CCTV revealed nothing. They couldn't find out what had actually happened to what was taken, the belongings taken from the dressing rooms. Now, later on, 2016, excuse me 1 minute, there's Harry Ramsden, let's just get that in for you. Yeah, so in 2016 there was an investigation. What that revealed was a full investigation, basically, of, you know, how they might have got into the dressing rooms and, you know, stole the goods, possessions. And it turns out that this investigation does reveal that yes, there is tunnels going from the tower buildings here up to the Winter Gardens, just there. Yeah, so how that was revealed was that there was an application made to the Freedom of Information Act, and that's how it came about, basically. Now, the council have admitted to 6 underground tunnels in Blackpool, but they're counting, it's misleading in a way, because they're counting the old subway tunnel, subway toilets, as in the ones central. You'll remember them, just opposite Central Pier, around obviously Central area. So they're counting them as part of the tunnels. It's early in the morning, by the way, that's why you can see workers and what have you. I don't think it's even 7 AM yet. But I thought I'd do it now so there's not people in the way, so I can show you properly. Just get the back here for you. Just here, this is what used to be the Tower Lounge as well. the back here, if anyone remembers the Tower Lounge. And there's that side. But yeah, the tunnel from here going to the Winter Gardens was going up that way basically before the Hounds Hill Centre was even built. And it went to what was called in them days Tower Street. Now Tower Street would then, it would veer off slightly and then to the Winter Gardens with the tunnels. Back to though what the council admitted to, the 6, yeah, they're saying the ones that really used to be the underground toilets, you know, the subterranean toilets. I think the terminology is what they called it. Yes, the subterranean toilets, I think that's what they were calling it, you know, they were using words and your layman will just be going, what are you on about? But that's what they were meaning. And they are the old toilets. To give you, for instance, Church Street, that used to have toilets. Where Church Street and Court Street meets, there used to be toilets down there. Central, North, just at Talbot Square here, as we'll be going to in a minute. But they're just saying all sorts. Bethesda Square, there used to be toilets underneath as well. If you remember them, locals will remember them ones at Bethesda Square, however you want to pronounce it, on Central Drive. Station Road down South Shore opposite South Pier. There were toilets there as well, underground. But yeah, they're counting them, which is just a misleader, to be honest with you. But this one really, we're going from the Tower to what is now Foreshores, used to be the Ibis Hotel here. And the reason for that I'll tell you about in a minute. So, originally when I was first doing these secret underground tunnels and investigating them, I was getting a lot of comments from previous workers at the Ibis, the Tower, you know, whatever hotel you want to call it by, Foreshores, that the workers were saying, hey biker, you do know that there's tunnels going from the Tower through to here, as in the Ibis Hotel, and then from there going to the Metropole Hotel. Now, which does tie in really, because I've shown before the air raid shelter that's underneath the Metropole Hotel. We've shown that, we've shown the entrances. As we walk up, I'll show you the entrances as we walk up. This is going to be a long video, by the way, so I do apologise. If you want to pause it, make it, don't blame me one bit. Excuse me. So yeah, so you've got to imagine, if these tunnels are coming, excuse me again, the tower there, obviously, so they wander along here. Don't ask me exactly where they are, underground here. And apparently, by the way, in town there, the sea does still come through at certain times. That's what we were told anyway. Whether that's fact or fiction, if you know better, let me know. So yeah, it's the tunnels must wander along here, and as I say, going to the Ibis Hotel. We'll call it the Ibis for now. If you want to call it something else, then please do. Now, when the workers were telling me, and I spoke to them, they were saying, yeah, there's a massive doors down there, metal doors, and they go through to the tunnels from one end to the Metropole Hotel, which I'll show you once again in a second. Bear me a tick. So yeah, I'll show you the hotel in a second. But yeah, there's massive, what I can only say is iron doors down there to this tunnel. It'll be easier when I get actually to the hotel to explain. And lots of workers, former workers of the Ibis, are saying, Biker, seriously, they are there. We know they are there. If you did see those original tunnel videos that I put out so long ago now, please let me know if you've got any more information. So as we're round the corner here, so I'm swapping hands the cold. It's early in the morning. It looks nice, but believe me, it's a bit nippy. So you've got North Pier there, look. So I presume, I'm not exactly sure where these doors were. By the way, this is where the north toilets used to be. Just about here, leading over the road and what have you. So yeah, Four Shores Hotel now, but this has got a long history. $1780 or something like that. Yeah, let's just have a look at the blue black again. I know I've shown it previously, but let's just have a quick look. There you go, 1780. Originally known as Four Shores. There you go. So then the tunnels must come along here somehow as we're walking, I presume. This is not, if you know better, once again, please know, because this is how we found out about the tunnels originally, as in doing the videos and then people saying, hey Biker, what about this and what about the air raid shelter at the Metropole? We'll just cross over here. This is why I've tried to do this early in the morning. We're not even 7 AM yet, because I thought it'd be easier to cross and what have you. Let's cross over here. So yeah, the tunnel will come over this way. I'll show you the air raid shelter in a minute at the Metropole, because it does tie in a way. So obviously they come over this way. Watch out for trams, Biker. But like I say though, if you know any better, please let me know. I'll show you where the entrances used to be to the Metropole. So you can see it's not a great distance. Metropole's literally just there. Hotel there. Now, the ones I was saying about going back to the original secret tunnels, they was dug approximately 120 years ago, originally from the Winter Gardens to the tower. We know the Winter Gardens 1878, so that was there before the tower. Tower 1893, just off the top of my head, around about is that. You know, a few years later. I think it's 1893, off the top of my head right now. So them tunnels were dug, but it was said that they was actually capped or blocked off in the late 60s or the mid to late 60s, those tunnels. But the mystery deepened. How did they get hold of, you know, the artists, the stars and what have you, goods from the dressing rooms? So that's how the mystery started. I'll show you a couple of these plaques as well on here before we check out. So the tunnels could well be coming, because this is the air raid shelter. So I can see that that's plausible. I can see where that's plausible. So Bailey's Hotel, originally the Metropole. Let's show you on here, look. Sorry if this is getting a bit long, but I wanted to show you. So literally the original building, one of the earliest hotels, 1776, by Lawrence Bailey. So you can see how old, and then obviously it's been built on and, you know, extended and what have you over the years. I'll try and get this one in, but it's pretty high. I don't know if there's anything coming out there. Is that, did you get that? There you go. hopefully something came out there. Oh, the Sands Express, that was the train that used to come when there was extending the prom. Sorry, I know which one that is now. When there was extending the prom all here, the Sands Express used to come right along, you know what I mean, along what the tram lines are. When they were extending all this here. So one of the entrances to the air raid shelter here, by the way, all along. So this is one of the entrances. You see where the door, not that door there, that's a later addition. But can you see where it would have been? I will try and put a photo on here of the original one, but the photo's actually of when the Montoya had killed the girl in the air raid shelter back in 1944. I've done a lot on that. The murderous end to the search for the Metropole Hotel air raid shelter that we've done a couple of 3 videos on. I think that's in the playlist actually. So you can see where that is, can't you? So you can appreciate what... there could well have been a tunnel. Oh, that's coming out for you. You see the lines there where there would have been, and obviously this door here is just a later addition, isn't it? So yeah, you can see it's not that far, and it is plausible. But like I say, this is how we got to find out originally, was with all the subscribers, people watching the channel said, hey Biker, this is what really, there is an air raid shelter underneath the Metropole. And then when we were first searching for it, I walked past the entrances, straight past them. I will try and put a couple of old photos. I'll do a bit of editing on this one for you. Not a lot, but a bit. But yeah, what I was saying there is Montoya was a serving aircraft mechanic in the USA Air Force, basically. And what him and the girl had done, 22-year-old, and her name bloody escapes me at the moment for whatever reason. They'd gone out for a drink, literally probably on the Talbot Road and what have you. Came back, went into the air raid shelter here, and he murdered her. She was only 22. I do know her name, it's just escaped me this morning, it's a bit early. So I'll show you the other entrance here, which is so obvious, and I've walked by it twice, I think. I think it's because I'm so used to this area, and I've passed it how many thousands of times since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, that you're that used that you don't look, you don't use the old, what is it that you say, you're not using your eyes here. So if you look here, you see the entrance just below. There, just between the columns, the 2 columns here, and there's the entrance. What would have been obviously capped off, blocked off now, but you could plainly see that was an entrance, even though Biker walked past it numerous occasions when I was looking for the entrances. But yeah, you could plainly see it. 1912, when Titanic went down, obviously, of course. So let me know what you think with this tunnel. I'm not talking about the ones going from, even though it's fascinating to me anyway, hopefully it is to yourselves. You know, it is the history of Blackpool. They said that the tunnels from the Winter Gardens to the Tower, or the Tower to the Winter Gardens, were capped off in the 60s. Were there? Is there any more tunnels under there that we don't know of, have knowledge of? How did they get into the dressing rooms? How did because CCTV revealed nothing. You know, it's like the Invisible Man walked in and took all the goods. It was quite big. It was in the newspapers that I seem to remember it was said that we'll never go back to Blackpool, this, that, and the other. You know, there was outrage, basically. Anyway, let me know what you think. I hope this has been all right. Would there been a tunnel going from there to here? And from going back that way, you know, from the Ibis, whatever you want, Foreshores, going to the Tower there? it's plausible. Whether it's true or not, that's up for debate. If you know better, and like I say, if you have worked at the Abyss and you've seen those doors that do lead to the tunnel coming from there to here, then please let us know, because I do find this fascinating. Especially, you got to remember, this is like from being a kid, a little one, that we were told about these tunnels, and it just seems fascinating that once upon a time they were used to transport things from one place to another, where they used to keep people safe as well into the air raid shelter here. Every time I do one of these, though, it leads to more questions than answers. It really does, and that might be the reason why I've not done this final one. We think it's a final one. There might come to light that there's more, and if there is, great. I'd love to have a look into it. So we'll leave it here. Thanks to everyone that's liked and subscribed. If you do like this one, just give it a thumbs up, will you? But from outside what was the air raid shelter underneath Butlins, not Butlins nowadays, biker, underneath the Metropole Hotel, it's a mystery. Most of all, stay safe. You know what it is. Have a cracking day.